And we are live yet again. Wrestle Purist live, hosted by myself and Ibu of Wrestle Purist. And today we've got to talk. We've got to talk about how WWE have absolutely loaded up next week's NXT to compete with AEW Dynamite in the Tuesday night head-to-head. So we're going to get into that. We're going to recap last night's NXT as well. We'll do a quick recap of that. We're going to preview AEW Dynamite's 4-year anniversary and whatever else comes up. But first things first, please like, subscribe, super chat any questions, any takes, anything like that you want to get into us. Hit the post notification bell. And I hope everyone's doing good. Starting with my fellow co-host, Ibu, not long woken up, but he's here for the people. How you doing?
I'm all right. I was taking a pre-stream nap, and then I got woken up by an update from the 5G towers. You know, I got the presidential office update on my phone. My phone was buzzing crazy. My other phone was buzzing crazy. And somehow I didn't get turned into a zombie. So that's nice.
I'm happy to hear it.
Have you heard about this theory, Monty?
I haven't heard about the theory. I did know that you guys were all going to get an alert or whatever you want to call it, notification today. We had it a couple months ago here in the UK. So
certain crazy sides of just social media believed that anybody that was vaccinated, once this alert came, we're going to turn into zombies. And there was a viral Reddit post of a guy posting that his landlord, this is a real thing, Monty, this guy's landlord told him that he was going to shut off all electricity for 3 hours so that, like, just to protect everybody. He sent a long message about, like, the sound waves and how, like, he's just trying to protect his tenants and that he's going to turn the electricity off. And the guy texted back, like, George, I work from home. And the dude is trying to make excuses, but yeah, man. People thought that if you were vaccinated and this alert hit you, the microchip was going to be activated in your body. So,
America really is a great country, you know.
Monty, really is. I saw someone quote tweet that and say, like, how does America function?
Just off greatness and vibes, you know.
The red, white, and blue, brother.
Yeah, man. But
fucking freedom.
But yeah, man, we got to get into this NXT AEW Dynamite head-to-head, which after last night has heated up quite a lot. And we've known for quite a good few weeks that, you know, that AEW Dynamite was being moved to Tuesday for next week. And, you know, it's going to happen to go head-to-head with NXT. And NXT at the moment, the past, what would you say? Like, it's been nice and steady for a while now, but it's really picked up momentum under Shawn Michaels the past, like, 2 months or so. Maybe a bit longer than that, but it's just really picking up momentum week to week to week. And so it's made it a lot more interesting, especially with all the main roster stars going down to NXT and drawing numbers. But of course, next week is a very, very, very special occasion in that sense because they have shamelessly just loaded this up, you know. And I don't mean shamelessly in like a negative sense. I just mean like they're not hiding exactly what they're doing with this, you know. I've got a list of things that they've like added that aren't normal NXT things. So we've got Carmella Hayes versus Bron Breakker, which of course is a huge NXT match, and normally something you would see on an NXT PLE. You know, I think it was the Mania weekend one this year.
It may have been two shows outside of the Performance Center that did like about 6,000-7,000 people.
Yeah, exactly, a big match. But of course, that match has been made as big as possible. You know, we've got John Cena in the corner of Carmelo Hayes, and we've got Paul Heyman in the corner of Bron Breakker for that one. So they've absolutely loaded that one up with 2 separate announcements as well. They wanted to make a big deal of it. And of course you would, because it's you put John Cena on NXT. So, and of course Heyman as well to, you know, bring the, I guess, the bloodline angle of it. But John Cena, Ibu, on NXT, we'll start with that one. Because that's the obvious big one. You know, there's a few big ones, but John Cena, you know, John Cena on Tuesday nights is, I don't think many people were expecting to see that, even those are the people that, you know, we're expecting this NXT to get loaded up. So, I'm sure you laughed when you saw this, Ibu.
This was hysterical. Like, the idea of like, because here's the thing, it's like, okay, you're competing against the AEW next week, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I heard about the Oscar thing, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. They brought a notable main roster star to face Roxanne. Like, that's pretty cool, right? But like, the biggest possible name you can possibly get to do this, and they did it. They went, all right, we're gonna get John Cena to walk in the Performance Center, which on so many levels is deeply funny. Monty, you can attest to this. When we watch these NXT shows, right? It doesn't matter what level you are on the main roster. When you walk in there, they treat you like you're a god. Remember the reaction Dolph Ziggler got when he walked on the PC?
Oh yeah.
Dolph Ziggler walked in and they acted like he was Okada, right? And it was always, there is a big fish, small pond thing where it's like they just feel so much larger than the setting, and the crowd is like, it's like they feel like they're not worthy of even seeing him. And so it's going to be surreal to see John Cena, Hollywood megastar, WWE superstar, all-time Rhapsody legend, standing inside the Performance Center, and the crowd like reacting and shit, and the da, 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 and all that. So deeply, deeply funny. It's gonna pop a number. I'm curious what the interest is gonna be in just simply seeing him ringside. Um,
Hmm.
and also simultaneously, I do think it's a super cool thing for Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes getting the John Cena rub TM is very nice, and it bodes well for his prospects. And a lot of people are going to be seeing him for the very first time next week. I'm curious what the number is going to be that moves for John, because John has been on television now for a couple weeks, and
Yeah.
it has affected how much he's moving the ratings, because the first return is going to be a big number, the second, third appearance is going to be big. Now it's settled into like he helps, but he's not like creating a gigantic shift like that initially. But nonetheless, it's him on NXT, so that's going to shift something, So yeah, it's fucking huge. It's really funny, and yeah, they're pulling out all the stops for him.
It's funny to see how this has gradually progressed with like the level of star they've brought to NXT. So like at the start, it was like you got Ziggler, Natty worked the program with Cora Jade, and then we've gradually ever since they've been really pushing it. The names have slightly got bigger and bigger and bigger. We've got Mustafa Ali, we've got Dominic Mysterio, and the Judgment Day all coming down. And now for next week, they've just they've just got balls to the wall with it. We've got John Cena. When Heyman first flashed up on the screen, people were legitimately like waiting for that Roman Reigns
I was gonna,
announcement.
Monty, I was gonna say. So I watched the Heyman thing, right? I'm watching the video. I'm like, when he said, "I got like word from your tribal chief," I was like, "Is Roman Reigns walking into the Performance Center? Are they gonna bring Roman Reigns into the Performance Center?" I was so ready to be like, "Bro, come on."
Bro, some people. So there's a really great account that posts like wrestling gifs and clips and stuff called Luigi Wrestling. And I believe like Spanish is his first language or something like that. And he was like covering all the NXT announcements yesterday. And he must have got lost in translation somewhere for him. But he was under the impression that Roman Reigns was coming to NXT, and a lot of people saw that. And there was a good few people on the timeline yesterday at the time of the announcement who thought Roman Reigns was actually coming to the Performance Center. So, but he's not. It is just Heyman who has been sent by Roman Reigns. But yeah, they've gone all out for that one. Heyman in one corner, Cena in the other. It's be interesting, like you said. It's a good point to point out that Cena has been back now for a few weeks. So, of course, there's always going to be novelty with John Cena. It's John Cena, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's not the same as if he was coming out of nowhere to like show up on there. But I'm sure he will absolutely still move a number. And
Monty, if this was John Cena's first appearance in like 2 years, he's getting 2 million in his
infinitely
bonus.
funnier.
Yeah, well, it'd be infinitely funnier, and he would probably move like close to 2 million people.
Yeah, Cena, man.
It's John Cena.
It's probably there's going to be some big movement. I assume it's going to be an interesting night in terms of them quarter hours. But yeah, elsewhere on the show for next week, anyway, we got Cody Rhodes, which is somehow, even with John Cena, this is somehow on like the same level of like hilariousness.
Funny.
because like
The
it's Cody
graphic is funny
Rhodes.
too. It's just Cody smirking with like an American flag in the background, and he has
Major announcement,
major announcement for Cody. Like
Um,
what?
Cody Rhodes, the man, the face of the revolution that
Oh,
started AEW. The man that I believe was in the first match ever on AEW Dynamite. You know, the man that led the troops into battle, so to speak, is now going head to head with the monster that he created.
yes, yes. He was the ultimate like us versus them tribal guy, wanting to bring the fight to NXT and WWE. You can't counter program us. That was the line he said. Hip toss. They graduated hip toss class. That was Cody, right? And now he's going head to head on the other channel, so it's gonna be fun. What's even funny, what I'm looking forward to is just how funny his promo is gonna be, because it's gonna be the most just fucking like Dusty Rhodes is 100% going to be mentioned. You know what I mean? He's in the performance center. This is gonna happen. He's gonna be like, I used to walk these halls and Dusty Rhodes would talk about da 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 da. And he'd say all this stuff. I anticipate his announcement is going to be the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic. I think that's what he's going to announce. He's going to mention the Dusty Rhodes.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I have some news for you, Monty. So NXT is going to do a double taping next week because Cody's in the venue, John Cena's in the venue, Heyman's in the venue, Asuka's in the venue. Shawn Michaels is like, let's get more out of you, motherfuckers.
That's the thing with doing it at the PC, isn't it? It's not like you simply put, you can just do those things. You can just decide one week we're going to do a double taping because we've got these stars on hand, and there you go.
And as a result, bro, it was up to me. I think Cody needs to, I think Cody should get in the ring.
Ilya Dragunov.
Oh man,
he can't win though, so because obviously Ilya's the world champ over there as well.
Let Dragunov and Cody tag.
What about? Oh no, you can't do Cody versus. No, you can. It's WWE. Who gives a fuck? It was so popular. Right? You could do like WWE because Baron Corbin's probably going to challenge Ilya Dragunov. So you could just do if you want to get shameless and pop a rating, you can still do Cody and Ilya and just do a foot finish. But yeah, Ilya and Cody tagging. Cody and Ilya anywhere near each other, I'm all down for it.
I was thinking about what's a heel team that can go that they can just beat. And here's one: Garza and Carrillo versus Cody and Ilya Dragunov, and let them go 14 minutes.
Get them in there with the Creeds also. Let Julius Creed make Cody Rhodes fear for his life.
Oh my god.
There is actually a lot of stuff, cool stuff they can do with this. The big, there's sending main roster stars down, and like I said, it kind of gradually stepped up. Like it went from your Dolphs to your Dominic Mysterios to your Becky Lynch's, which was like a really big deal. Still is. She's still moving numbers for them. And now we've got this insanity next week. So, yeah, man. Cody Rhodes, of course, you've already made your guess of what you think the announcement's going to be, and I haven't got a better guess than that, to be honest. So, the other big thing, you've already kind of mentioned it. Asuka versus Roxanne Perez. Kiana James has been feuding with Roxanne Perez, and this is kind of her way of setting up Roxanne by booking her in a match with Asuka, which Roxanne, every time she's wrestled anyone with, I was going to say anyone from the main roster, but even the Satomura match, obviously. Anytime she's wrestled anyone of like a really high standard like that, she's always lived up to it. So I'm sure this will be really good as well.
The deal with Roxanne is like she's a very talented and promising young wrestler. Sometimes you don't really get to see it when she wrestles like somebody below her level, but when she's wrestling somebody that's like actively better than her, she produces really good work, And like you said, like the Mako Satomura match is really good. The match with Rhea Ripley was very good, and now she gets to face Asuka. And like, even if Asuka's not what she was before, she's a veteran. She knows how to wrestle, and I think you can construct a really interesting match there. And so, wrestling wise, I'm actually also pretty intrigued by how this goes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good time. And on top of all that, of course, we'll probably get a lot of Becky Lynch. We'll get a lot of Judgment Day as well. So it's a very, 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 very stacked show. we're going to do a quick recap of the kind of the highlights of NXT from last night. But first, do a few super chats. Keep them coming. Where it's appreciated. Jade, Natty, $4.99. Appreciate you very much. If we end up getting Ilya versus Cody, I deserve 100% credit for manifesting it. Cody is the most hilarious wrestler of all time for the love of the game. Yeah, man, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is hilarious, bro. And yeah, I'll give you some credit for manifesting. Just keep praying for us over the next few days, you know?
Yeah, man.
Showtime Spurs, $5. Appreciate it. Is it me or are Cody Rhodes and Russell Wilson not the same person?
Yes.
I don't know. Who's Russell Wilson?
He's a quarterback in the NFL.
Okay. Where's the parallel? Where's the similarity?
He's like super clean cut image, super like, you know, like he's just like the media. He's super media friendly, you know, and people meme the fact that like they just know like that's just not him, you know. So that's the thing.
Gotta respect it.
Yeah.
The Riddler, $5. What do you think it would take for TK to give up on Sammy? I cringed when he was begging Taz to put him over on commentary at WrestleDream. # feed that pitbull.
Everybody should absolutely feed their pit bulls. Regarding Sammy Guevara, I don't know. I think it takes like 2 more failed pushes for Tony to finally like let that go. But Tony really sees something in Sammy. He really believes Sammy is somebody. Plus he already committed to labeling him as a pillar, so he's not going to give up on that one quickly because then he'd be conceding that like his pillar was fraudulent, and he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, 100%. I will say though, this has potential to maybe work better than a lot of the other things that they've tried with him. You know, obviously it's very early days with him like turning heel and linking up with Don Callis, but it seems like a feat that makes a lot of sense. You know, so I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens with him. Will Chisholm, $5. We got Goat Cody and Goat Cena on NXT next week. The real never dies.
Cody and John Cena are going to be on the same show for SmackDown and NXT, and if we don't get an interaction of some kind, that's an absolute tragedy.
Tragedy.
Thankfully, I think we will. I mean, did you realize that, Monty? That they're like, I was talking to someone over there. They're like stacking the SmackDown up. They have so John Cena's going to be there, right? They're going to bring Cody Rhodes.
Go home, bro.
No, but Cody, Jay Uso, and the Judgment Day are all going to be on SmackDown. So we could be getting interactions between Jay and Jimmy, Jay and Heyman, Cody and Heyman, Cody and Cena, you know, Judgment Day and LWO, Dominic and Rey Mysterio. A lot of crossover possibilities, and many of them will be taking place. Dragon Lee is going to be there, so he'll probably run into Dominic again. Like I said, a lot of crossover potential. And it makes for an interesting show to preview when it comes to like the possibilities that can happen.
Definitely. Soul D, $1.99. Who wins the rating? You think, Ibu?
You know, someone was probably going to think this is obvious, but I'm going to wait till I get the Dynamite lineup. I genuinely want to see what they're going to do before I just outright, say it's over. I know that might sound a bit delusional, but listen, I want to tell you guys something. Tony Khan is a fighter. He's not the pushover that some might see him to be or whatever. He's not going to just lay down completely. He will absolutely try to put on a show that his fan base will be really into. He'll absolutely put down a show that will fire up his fans. And so expect next week's card to absolutely have some big swings. Now, what could those big swings be that doesn't, burn off like pay-per-view matches? I'm not even sure. I don't know what the card is. What I can tell you is, he wants to beat NXT. He does. He absolutely wants to beat NXT. He doesn't want to, even if, and I know some people are already kind of preemptively coping, so to speak, by going like, oh, it doesn't matter and this and that. And look, for us,
we were talking about it before the show, man. It's like we've already seen like people like preparing. It's kind of like, WWE are just doing this to do this. It's like, yeah, they are doing this just because Dynamite's on. Like, yeah, they are. Like, obviously, that's what they're doing it. And
Here's the deal.
Tony
Here's the deal,
shouldn't react and blah blah blah. It's like, no, Tony should react.
Monty. Here's the deal.
What are we doing?
As fans, they don't pay me to care one way or the other as to who's going to win, right? I'm just popping at all of this happening, and I'll take the extra content that's going to be better than it would have been because these guys are fighting each other, right? That's how I see it. But Tony Khan is paid to care. So if he doesn't care, then that's a disservice to the fans and his own promotion. And so I say all this to say he does care, and he will try to beat NXT. And so I'm very much looking forward to what an AEW card is and an AEW card that looks like when he's trying to win a ratings war.
I guess I wanna ask the chat this one. Say you're Tony Khan now, and you've committed, and you've decided that you are going to do a big swing next week. You know, what are your big swings going to be? Like, are you going to bring Goldberg in, or try to? Are you going to do a big Kenny Omega match? Are you going to do a world title match? What kind of things do you think Tony Khan should be thinking about? I just want to see what sort of suggestions come up. You know, do you do something different with Edge? You know, I'm sure he's already booked to face Luchasaurus, but obviously we've got a whole week between then and now. So
I would shoot some type of angle to change Edge's match next week. In fact, what if like you do something where Edge is cutting his promo tonight and they do the whole like impromptu thing where Edge is like, you know what? I was gonna face Luchasaurus next week. We're gonna do that tonight, and you do that tonight so that you can do something different with Edge next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a very good reason why we don't have that much announced for Dynamite tonight, and it's because Tony, like a madman, is working violently to structure next week's show. And I have some also extra news, Monty. NXT didn't blow off all their announcements for next week because they're waiting to see what Dynamite's going to announce for the show.
What do you mean?
So let me explain.
How much more can you fit in the show?
So we want more. We need more. So the thing is, here's the deal, Monty.
Hosted by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So here's the deal. They are aware, Monty. They are very aware that Tony follows up on what he advertises. And so once Tony advertises the whole card, it's set in stone. He can't change anything. And so they want Tony to show his full hand tonight.
If you're Evil Uno, that could,
unless you're Evil Uno. But they want him to show his whole hand, and then they can be like, cool, bet, gotcha. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn next week. Like something along those lines. But yeah, there's more announcements to come on the NXT front, and you can expect that. And like I said, you can expect something. You can expect whatever Tony's idea is of an awesome, kick-ass competitive show. And I think whatever that's going to be is going to be something that's very pleasing to his fan base. I think they should cancel the Edge match and give him a different one. And I think they should do Omega versus Takeshita too. Or something like that.
There's all kinds of suggestions.
Omega Danielson.
TK got to make the call to Mercedes. Ospreay versus Danielson.
Oh my God.
Omega singles match. AO said MJF versus Jay White.
Max doesn't want to do it.
Another one for Omega versus Danielson. MJF versus Roddy. I love Roddy, but
that's not doing shit. That's not doing jack fucking shit against John
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Edge versus Christian for the TNT title.
They're not gonna want to burn that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be brave to burn that one.
Yeah, they don't want to burn that one.
Edge and Christian versus FTR doesn't really make sense right now.
They can't do that one. You know what?
A lot of people saying Ospreay versus Danielson.
I was gonna say, here's the thing. That's like one you can do. You know what I mean? Like there's a really big spotlighted destination Danielson match that everybody knows is going to be a classic. That's the type of thing that would move the needle and get hardcore fans interested and would absolutely get like close. Because that's the type of match that even if there was no competition, that match itself would pop a million in the quarter hours. You know?
Yeah.
So because in AEW's rating patterns, it's been proven that like spotlighted destination singles matches that people know are going to be like fucking 5-star matches, that pops ratings in AEW, and especially when it's like Danielson and Omega and people like that. So you do Danielson Ospreay, I do think there, that's gonna be a good counterpunch to some of this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's Because at the same time, because it's Danielson, there's no such thing as burning something off with Danielson really at the moment. This is his last year in full time, so it's more just, you want to tick these big matches off for Danielson. So if he has to wrestle Ospreay at Dynamite, then he's got to wrestle Ospreay at Dynamite, brother.
Monty, I have. Let me see if I can say this on air. I'm gonna ask right now live.
Okay,
Someone from WWE involved in all of this is watching this show, Monty, and just sent me something, and I'm gonna ask if I can repeat this.
While you're sending your text, I'm going to read a couple super chats.
Go for it.
$5, appreciate it. HBK say, y'all got Soraya wrestling. He said, I got Asuka versus Roxanne. Cody getting the dusty hard time pops. Listen, HBK, he's not messing around. Not messing around for next week.
Here we go. Okay, so there's heavy consideration next week for some type of match involving Gunther and Ilya Dragunov.
How?
The working idea
It's got to be a tag.
The working idea is Imperium versus Cody, Dragunov, and another babyface.
Sounds real. Calling the big guns. You're getting Gunter. Yeah, man. I fuck with it. Bill.
That's crazy.
Alright. Will Chisholm again, $5. Appreciate you. With all the Punk teasers in the Seth segments 3 weeks in a row, is it fans looking too deep, or is Punk bringing back the real to WWE? I think he's coming in. I think me and Ibu have already made our guesses a couple of weeks ago. At this point, I think it's just a matter of time, and it's going to be at one of 3 events. It's either going to be at Survivor Series, but obviously I understand if that's a little bit too soon. If there's any sort of technicalities that need to work through first. And then obviously you've got the Rumble, and then obviously you've got Mania. So if we don't get him by Mania, then I guess I'll have to concede that, it ain't happening. But as of right now, I'm like, what did I say I was? He'd be like 85% confident that he's coming in.
You gave us a number similar to 85%.
So yeah, I'm pretty confident, Ibu.
Yeah,
I know you're pretty much in the same boat, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun November.
There we go. Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate you. Cody, Carmelo, and Trick versus the Judgment Day. Book it, HBK. Yeah, man, they could definitely do something like that as well. But when I've been told about Ilya Dragunov and Gunter, it's there's levels, Jonathan Gomez, $2. Appreciate you. Satnam versus Big Bill next Tuesday. #feed that pitbull. Yeah, man, big monster ratings right there, brother. Interested to see how you'd book your territory,
Could you imagine just walking out of next week's show, there's 2 Observer 4-star matches from a fucking Performance Center television taping?
It's happened this year, I think. So
it has actually.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Comic Critical, $2. Appreciate it. Just got Beast Mode and do Kenny versus Joe Coward.
Oh,
I'd be all into that.
So good.
I'd be all in on that.
Honestly, do a Samoa Joe dream match, man. The TV audience sees Joe as a star, So just fucking book him against Kenny Omega or something, or Danielson.
Ospreay, Danielson, Omega, Joe.
Oh,
this is what he's got to be coming with them, I think, probably.
You know what? If he books that, right? This is gonna sound crazy. I think the passion of the AEW fan base will carry him to victory. I think that beats John Cena and BC. I legitimately, I'm telling you, if Tony Khan gives these fans a card like that they are really trying to see with destination matches of that caliber, I think they beat NXT.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting Tuesday, though, absolutely.
Yo, people in the comments like, what about Gable versus Dragon?
Bro, so this is when it starts getting crazy, with the fantasy booking.
It starts getting pornographic. You know what? I got to look, man. I don't want to do the grading, very just patronizing, enjoy all wrestling bullshit, because a lot of times people are disingenuous with that crap, right? But with that said, this now that the universe is broken and like the door is open between WWE and NXT, you can do like WWE rarely gets to do these kind of cool, weird matches, right? Like these spontaneous, like what if this guy just beats that guy, you know? But now that they're trying to win a ratings war in the Performance Center, realistically, you could start just doing cool shit like this. Like, yeah, give me Chad Gable and Dragunov. Let them just have a fucking wrestling match. That would probably be a WWE Match of the Year contender, you know? And what I would say about all of this is, again, I don't get paid to give a fuck who wins this ratings war, right? They can have at it, right? I just threw out so many suggestions for AEW, but as a wrestling viewer, right? When I get home on Tuesday, Monty, it's a good thing that I'll come home to most likely a lot of things that are worth seeing on television. You know what I mean? Because
100%.
An individual NXT on a normal week, maybe there's one or two things that are worth seeing. A Dynamite is a Dynamite. Dynamites are usually good, but a powered up Dynamite, very few things that beat it. And if I get an Ilya Dragunov fucking masterclass, that's a good thing. So I go home and I get to see more good content, which is what wrestling fans should want.
100%. Competition's good until it isn't. It's one of those things. But like when we get like little flashes of it, like a one-off Tuesday, like next week, I think it's brilliant. Like it's not just good, it's brilliant because obviously when you get like a head-to-head like the Wednesday Night Wars, like of course it can slip into kind of just like hot shotting every week, hot shot booking, which of course is good for for a small amount of time, but then it becomes very like nonsensical and stuff. But like I said, when you get it in little flashes, like we do these days, like I think it's like brilliant. I love it. So like you said, either Tuesday night when you get home, there's going to be a lot of good wrestling to watch or catch up on. So
give me DIY versus the Garzas.
Well, hold on. That's not even a dream match. Like, that's just
this is cool.
You can do that anyway.
Give me give me a Rey Mysterio versus Dragon Lee.
I mean, yeah, man.
It's not even an NXT episode at this point. It's like a WWE.
Oh yeah, that's long gone, bro. That's long gone.
NXT. This is not NXT. This is like you can literally call it WWE Tuesday Special or some shit like that.
Will Chisholm $5 says, I heard Monet might be out until next year. Have y'all heard anything?
Yeah, I have heard things. Her ankle injury is like way more severe than like everybody thought it was at the time. Like I thought this was like a
I said this months ago,
bro. Like her foot blew up. It's like a legit like fuck. Like she fucked her shit up. I've talked to people in the company about like, all right, so she's gonna show up at Wrestle Dream, right? And they're like, bro, she is still in a fucking boot. So.
I said at the time, I'm no doctor. I'm far from it. I'm far from someone who even looks at these things super carefully or anything like that. But when we saw the injury, he was just like, bro, that ankle can't support nothing. Like it was fucked. And yeah, just in the manner that we suspect in the spot she broke it in, it was a pretty nasty one, man. And like I said, it sounds like the last update was that she's still in a boot. So I don't know, man. When people, like I said this months ago, when people were kind of like, oh, no, she'll only be out for like 6 weeks. I was like, bro, you're crazy. Like, what are you thinking? So, yeah, hopefully I want her to recover ASAP, It'd be cool if she showed up next Tuesday. But it's not looking too likely. So, speedy recovery for Mercedes Moné, we're all hoping for. Trust the Process 34, 999. Appreciate you. Do you think Cody has gotten to the point where he now relishes AEW's misfortune, or do you think he genuinely wants them to do well and doesn't want to see WWE try to bury them?
I think it's in the spectrum of I want them to die to I want them to succeed as much as possible. He's leaning towards the positive side of that while not being all the way there. Cody Rhodes does want AEW to do well. He wants it to be sustained so that people can have a place of employment. It's good for him and the boys because they can always use AEW's leverage for contracts. And if Cody can't tease going back to AEW, he can't get a raise on his next deal. He has fondness for a lot of people there. And so he doesn't have that type of negative feeling towards AEW. That said, I mean, he doesn't work there anymore. And so he absolutely in his mind is like, I'm where I want to be. This is the big leagues. This is the big time. I'm the top guy of the big time show. And so it's kind of like, I wouldn't say in the middle, but it's like, it's in the spectrum of it. He's somewhere in it that's not either extreme side.
Codeman's left hand 4.99. TK, you're letting them blow your back on a Tuesday. Do something about it.
We're going to find out tonight. Listen, I'm telling you, bro. He's gonna announce there's gonna be a bombshell tonight, Mopsy. Like that.
Yeah, I have faith that TK is going to fight back, because, like I said, the fans on the timeline yesterday have been like, "God, he shouldn't overreact, and he should just do what you'd normally do." And it's like, well, so he's meant to just like lay back and just take it. Like, no,
it's his job to fight back. That's his job. He's paid to. He's paid to care, and he's paid to fight back. And you, as a fan, why don't you want a better Dynamite? Why are you asking for just a normal show? You should be urging Tony to fucking drop a bomb, because then you get better content. No, Tony, just do your normal show, man. Man, just stop being a fucking wimp. Give me a break.
Even if they lose, bro, like, you gotta go down swinging.
If they announce a bunch of fucking banger dream matches, right, and they lose, let's say they lose, they do 840.3, right, and NXT did like 930.37. There's no harm in that.
Yeah, as long as they're still, I don't know, man. To just fight back. Just the process 34,499. Any update on Rose? I thought she said she was weeks away from being cleared. Oh yeah, there's a couple factors. Obviously, there's getting medically cleared, which obviously seems to be like it's approaching. But then there's also the creative that gets it onto the TV. So we'll see what happens. Ibu, anything?
Yeah, I mean, she has one of her major political allies is no longer there, and so where she stands on the priority list has dropped significantly, and that doesn't help her. And so yeah, she's just trying to get cleared. And like I said, whether she's closer, like she's super close or like not super close right now, they don't care that much.
LTK Reaper 199. Appreciate you. John Cena for Cody and Ilya's partner. Screw it. I mean,
who could be that big? Who's an undercard NXT babyface that's like really good that doesn't have anything to do next week?
Wesley.
No, boy, Wes, Nate Fraser. I don't think it'll be Wes, but Nate. I don't know.
We can get weird,
You can just book a multiverse show like this, and frankly, Monty, let's make this a trend. Let's just make NXT a weird dream match show. Fuck it. Until they get that TV extension, they should be doing this every week. Not to this degree, but like, hey, this week on NXT, Chad Gable's here, and this week on NXT, Rey Mysterio's here.
That's what they're doing.
Kind of,
Becky Lynch, like Becky Lynch is a bigger name than like.
I'm talking about
90% of the.
I'm talking about popping me.
Becky and Tiff did a lot for me on NXT TV. Let me tell you.
I thought their match was really good, but I'm talking like, give me something. Give me fucking Rey Mysterio versus somebody.
We're just on the Global Heritage Cup, brother.
That was cool. That was very cool. But,
It was. But yeah, man. We'll choose them again. I appreciate you. $2. But the Creed brothers versus Sammy and Kevin Owens. Oh. I mean, on that.
It's very on the table. It's very possible.
Huncho 499. Appreciate it. Either how many months/years until you get the Will Washington-esque is all elite graphic? And Monty, will you be opening up the checkbook? #bidding war of 2024. Yeah, you will. When you're gonna chill out? When you're gonna sell out?
It depends, man. It depends. Tony Khan and Monty are gonna be bidding each other. They're gonna be throwing dollars up, and I'm gonna have to assess what we're looking at here. So
Don't know if you'll like my offer, to be honest.
Monty's gonna go full Nick Khan, and he's gonna look at
a commission deal.
yeah, right.
Oh man,
Monty's like, I'll bump you up $20 per show or some shit, and I'm like, the fuck out of here.
Will choosing $5. Appreciate you again. The question is, will Tony Khan still have one women's match?
Yes.
I was gonna say, if I had to bet my life on it right here and now, I'd probably say yes. Maz fan 199, appreciate it as always. How's Kojima not cooked? He's been in some wars, man. Kojima's a fucking animal, he's a beast. He's timeless, We love Kojima.
That's a great question. That's a great fucking question.
It's just, some people are just tough, Some tough bastards in this wrestling business, Even though the old heads say that there's none anymore, and I know Kojima probably falls into that old head category at this point, but still, some tough bastards in this business. But yeah, let's get this off screen and then a quick NXT recap. So, Trick Williams just won the North American title. And, he was booked for this rematch with Dominic Mysterio. And Monday night on Raw, Rhea Ripley basically told Dominic Mysterio if he doesn't bring the North American title back to the Judgment Day, then don't bother coming back at all. So from there, it was kind of obvious where this was going, to be honest. I did not see Dominic Mysterio getting kicked out of the Judgment Day anytime soon. So kind of was what it was.
I tweeted yesterday morning because someone said something about Trick Williams. Someone tweeted about Trick Williams with the championship, and I just said, like, well, he's losing that motherfucker tonight. And people were like, no way, what? And I'm like, I was so AO in various group chats was like, is Trick losing tonight? And I'm like, yes, he is absolutely losing. And I wasn't even clued in on anything. That's just what's gonna happen. Like, he's just gonna lose tonight.
But well, he did, and there was a segment at the start of the show where they were kind of like setting up the match, and Carmelo, basically, he didn't want Carmelo in his corner. He wanted to go alone, and that ended up being his demise because Dominic Mysterio had a lot going on in his corner. There was so much interference. I know that me and Ibu have been kind of baffled when Dave Meltzer has compared every match that has interferences in now to House of Torture. Mm-hmm. But this was legitimately House of Torture-esque at the end of it. At the end of that North American title match yesterday. There was
also in terms of
a lot going on. There'd be a distraction here for the ref so they could do something over on this side of the ring to do a distraction over here so Dom could hit him with the belt he got crazy. It was a lot. And, I know that they're trying to do this Trick Williams singles push and you're trying to establish him and that, but there's protecting someone, then there's just doing ridiculousness with, with your finish. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio wins the North American title back. I wasn't exactly surprised. It was, Trick Williams getting the belt in the first place was, I was actually quite surprised to see that. So, it was nice that he got that moment. He got to take his pictures with the belt. He got to do a few social media posts and shit. We got that cool picture of Mello and Trick together with the belts. But yeah, it was kind of all this round was ever meant to be. Really, it was just that moment. And then, back to original programming on Tuesday with Dominic winning the belt back. So, yeah, but I don't think it's, if I'm big into Trick Williams and him, succeeding long term, but I wasn't exactly clamoring for him to have a North American title reign right now,
He doesn't have the tools to even execute a title reign right now. Trick Williams can't wrestle. It's just that he just can't wrestle. And I don't say this to be denigrating. I think he is such a charismatic person, right? And he looks great. And when it all comes together for Trick, I think he will be a star in this business. And that's not a hot take. Everybody thinks this, right? It's a disservice to a talent of like him, who's as green as he is, to try to get him to do a phony title reign at this stage. Because it would be the most just gimmick, smoke and mirrors, farcical shit. I didn't think he should have even won the championship. I thought they should have just done Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio on No Mercy. But they clearly know that that's the end goal, and they want to prolong this thing as much as possible because Dominic content pops numbers on the TV. And that's why now they have Rey Mysterio. Sorry, they have Dragon Lee doing it with SmackDown as well because they're trying to make this a back and forth thing and prolong it and pop numbers and all that type of stuff, right? The point I'm making is this. Um, I think the people that think like Trick losing is a travesty have genuinely not seen his work closely. Because I do think there's a segment of people like that who like follow Trick through Twitter clips and they love the idea of him and they think this is like crazy. But
You're like
frankly,
Murph.
well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who are in love with the idea of Trick Williams and they watch the clips and stuff. But if you watch him wrestle, there's nobody who could watch him wrestle and possibly and be like, nah, man, he should have had an extended title reign and this is like really fucked up. I think that I think what he should continue to do right now is just showcase what he has going for himself, which is the charisma on television, and off the air he can just kind of stay in the lab and continue to work on his wrestling. And I know it's WWE, and I know that in WWE you don't have to be fucking Okada to be pushed, right? But he's not even like average working standard to where it's like you're good enough and we'll push you. Like there's guys in WWE who are like 3-star wrestlers, and like the company sees that as suitable enough. He's not even at that level. He just and that's not like I'm not saying he sucks. It's just that he just hasn't gotten to that yet because he's still new to this, and some people take a while to catch on. He's still relatively new to this. He's wrestled maybe I don't know 10
Very
matches in his
new to
career.
this. Yeah,
How
very
many
new.
he's wrestled on screen maybe 10 times at most, and in singles action maybe like 6 or 7. So yeah, I think if you actually are invested in his long-term success, you shouldn't even be clamoring for him to hold the title right now because it would have to be the most gimmicked up thing anyway. So no, I'm not fazed by this. I don't think he should have even won the title in the first place, and he lost it, and so that's just the deal with that. And it appears that they're kind of they try to make it make story sense with the Carmelo Hayes thing. He refused to get help from Melo. He wanted to stand on his own. That's why he's been going single, and it kind of costed him. And so, there you have that. We'll see where that goes. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just the deal with that.
Yeah, the dumb title reign from the beginning is kind of always called, like from the early hints and stuff like that, it's kind of always called for Dragon Lee to be the one that truly ends it. So, like I said, I was surprised, but I did pop to see Trick Williams win the bout. But
It was a nice
I
moment.
did have my reservations about how a North American title reign with Trick Williams would actually look if he actually got to have like a real reign with the belt. But yeah, I'm not mad at this. It's like I said, it's cool that Trick got that moment. Do you know what I mean? It's a feather in his cap, etc., etc. But yeah, man, he's super super green. Just bring up a few things that have been said in the chat on this subject. Showtown Spurs. He's a super chat, so we'll put up this the freebie. It says neither can Dom when talking about whether
Bro,
Trick can wrestle. Like there's
people,
levels, like there really is
right?
levels. Like Dom is serviceable now, in just my opinion, in terms of just like being able to have a serviceable match work out there, be a heel, lean into the heat that he gets. And the heat that he gets from the crowd absolutely does carry him through matches, but because he's serviceable, like look what he did with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee, of course, is a fucking monster. Do you know what I
So,
mean?
so that's the thing. Like when I was
He,
here to
he,
shy,
he based really well and he done his stuff really well in that match. So there's levels where his Trick is like just bright green, like
yeah, and look, Dominic is look. If you're judging Dominic off how he looked with Trick Williams, it's like Trick Williams can't wrestle and Dominic is still putting it together. So of course that match is going to be like abysmal. The way I look at Dom is he's gotten to a level where, like you said, against someone who's really good, he can base well for them, he can bump for them, he can throw punches, get heat, and then have a decent match. Dragon Lee versus Dominic was like a bit of an achievement. And then in tags, like the Judgment Day tags against like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, he's not like actively detracting from these matches. He's absolutely hanging in there and bumping for Sami Zayn and things like that. And he's an asset in that respect. And even beyond that, he's an established TV act that's pushed on national television. So, yeah, he's not like fucking miles ahead of Trick.
he's serviceable, man.
Yeah, there's levels. He's not like I wouldn't say he's like some fucking awesome wrestler, But on the spectrum of like, green to like amazing, he is higher than Trick Williams by a couple notches.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully, it just comes with time with Trick. Obviously, like, the Ilya Dragunov matches, like Ilya Dragunov could, no, the time gets thrown around, have a good wrestling match with a broomstick. But Ilya Dragunov is really in like one of those phases at the moment. So,
What
it's very similar to like Tomohiro issue with him. It's like when you wrestle him, you wrestle his match, and his match is incredible. So
Monty,
it's one of them.
What that guy got out of Trick Williams is unbelievable.
Must be studied,
It has to be studied.
Kale, is that his name?
Yeah.
Who is beating Dom now? Dragon Lee. Still convinced of Dragon Lee. And
Bro, even in the match that Trick had with Dominic, where he won the belt, the referee was Dragon Lee. Like they're telling you what the destination is before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon Lee also, fun fact, is going to be on SmackDown this week. And you know who else is going to be on SmackDown?
He's wrestling Theory, isn't he?
Yeah, he's wrestling Theory.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't announced the third member for the LWO tag at Fastlane. And he's going to be there at SmackDown. And you know who else is going to be there at SmackDown? The Judgment Day. So all these things are intertwining and will be continued to be furthered on television.
There's a few theories about that tag match, because you've got like you said the third man in the LWO. Obviously, there's 4 members of the LWO, but there's 3 members of the Bobby Lashley Street Profits. So I've seen some people theorize that Mello could be getting called up to be on like the Bobby Lashley Street Profits side to make it 4-on-4, and then of course what you've just mentioned about Dragon Lee making it a 3-on-3. So yeah, let's see what happens with that one. And this one popped me, Mr. 628. Not everyone can be Tish Stratton. That's just facts,
it's
bro.
True though. That's like
that's just facts,
fact,
bro.
Yeah.
That's just facts.
Tiffany's
She's special, bro.
She's been wrestling as long as Trick Williams. Actually less. She actually came to the PC slightly later than him, but the way she's picked this up is kind of insane.
She's insane, and she's insane even for kind of like there's some of these girls that are like come with like a gymnast background, like athletics background that WWE have got in the PC at the minute. So you've got Danny Palmer, you've got Kalani Jordan, and you've got Tiffany Stratton, and it's the first 2 that I said, like, I'm sure they'll come along really well. But like Tiffany Stratton's got like the intangibles as well, So it's like.
Did you see what Dave said about these like NIL gymnast girls? He stopped short of basically saying that these wave of women are gonna like save women's wrestling in America from like the state it's in. Essentially.
Hey man, can do some flips.
It helps. You got good knees. Can do some moonsaults and backflips and shit.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Trick Williams, he dropped the belt. There was some more tension building between Trick and Mello, and Bron Breakker tried to get in Mello's head, and he was trying to basically get him. He was just trying to plant some seeds in his head to make him look twice at Trick Williams, etc., etc. Tried to sympathise with him, saying that he knows where Mello's head's at because he just lost the belt as well, and etc., etc. And he was just trying to manipulate him, and that's kind of, Mello didn't respond well to it, so this is where we got the Bron Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes match for next week set up. And we also got the women's breakout tournament that kicked off. Quite the lineup, people.
Yeah, Booker T, he was having a field day there, and listen, NXT sure knows how to choose them. God bless. Best of luck to these ladies. Hope as many of them make it as possible. The NXT Performance Center is taking to Lola Vice in particular, and because I'm rooting for anybody that's black, I'm selfishly hoping that Jakara Jackson can really put it together and become a good wrestler. I really hope so. So we'll see how this whole thing turns out. And I expect to hear a couple of shucky ducky quack quacks from Booker T on the commentary booth.
Bro, when they were going through the announcements, and they announced, when they all come out to the ramp and they all like get the little moment in front of the camera.
Yeah, and they're all like gyrating and shit.
Yeah, and you got at one point it was like Ariana Grace to Jada Parker to Jakara Jackson, and that's when Booker T was just like, oh God, like,
oh God, man.
Listen, some of these women, they definitely got the look,
Yeah,
look like stars,
absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Booker T,
no,
it cuts to Jakar, and he goes, oh, she's ready. She's ready, man. She's ready, man. I'm like, this guy.
he's
Ugh.
yeah, man. But there is just to go through it because it is like quite. They've actually got quite an interesting lineup, Like we can make all that Booker T jokes, How can I get this up? Breakout women's NXT. Come on, give me a list. Boom, I've got it. Jakara Jackson, we just spoke about. Lola Voice, of course, very big very big, probably stretching it a little bit, but she definitely did have some name value in the MMA world. So, her joining WWE in the first place has been pretty decent sized deal. The fans have taken to her, especially her on Instagram and stuff like that. So, we'll see what happens with her. Obviously, with the MMA mixed martial arts background, she'll pick up things a little bit quicker. It seems like she's coming along quite nicely so far. Jada Parker, don't know too much about. Danny Palmer, another gymnast, very good from what I've seen so far. Kalani Jordan, another one. Ariana Grace is like insanely charismatic for how early she is in the game. She could be a star, brother. That Ariana Grace, she's so charismatic, and at the moment she's doing like a Miss NXT like gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing some things, Ibo. I'm seeing some things. This could be another Tiffany Stratton scouting report coming.
Listen, man, if this just turns into a factory of of just baddies that can wrestle, I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
I need to pick my one out. Like I
The,
did with
the, the,
Tiffany,
one, the one that
like I
you
did
just
with Tiff, bro.
the one that you're just super committed to, and just you just decided like this is the one I'm cashing my chips in. This is the person I'm
You've
picking.
got
You're next.
what's the point of doing a breakout tournament with your rookies if I can't put my house on one of them? I wanna bet it all on one of them. I did it with Tiffany Stratton. I'm up. I've got a reputation to uphold of
That's the
being an
thing.
NXT scout.
They do these tournaments. They're not expecting a lot of particularly good wrestling. It's almost like their own way, specifically of like knowing what the hierarchy really is. It's talent evaluation. And once you throw them out there and see how it all shakes out, you're gonna be like, okay, so this person's better than that person. That person's better than this person, and this person could actually be something. Like it's that type of deal. So we'll see we'll see how it shakes out and who actually stands out from this thing. And I don't know. I personally have no clue. Last year it was easy. I'm like, okay, Roxanne like knows how to wrestle, but and Tiffany Stratton could do something. But now this is fresh faces. I've seen Kalani Jordan show some promise. She can really
She's
do
probably gonna
something.
win, judging from recent booking. Like she's had a couple of matches just to kind of showcase what she can do, and she's
Right.
really solid in there.
Yeah.
Shaitan Spurs said in the chat, but look, it's got to be Kalani Jordan as like the one that gets picked out.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
I think she'll probably win the tournament. Ariana Grace is just so charismatic though already. So she can kind of put it together in ring and stuff. Obviously, all of these women are really green, but
Ariana could be this year's Tiff Strat. Tiff Strat showed a lot of charisma last year, but she lost in the finals to Roxanne.
She had the athletic background as well, though, bro. Like she's a 5 tool player, bro.
Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah.
Brother, she's better than most of the main roster. She's better than like 80% of the main roster women.
She's a special talent, that Tiffany Stratton is. But yeah, NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. We'll
She's
see
gonna
if we
replace
have
Charlotte.
we'll see if we're speaking about any of these women, like we are talking about Tiffany Stratton right now, this time next year. But yeah, like I said, I guess my money's on Kalani Jordan to win the tournament itself, and the jury's still out on who I'm deciding is going to be the top of the class. I'm gonna get the co-sign from me. But yeah, NXT. And it was a pretty decent show. Like I said, we ain't going to recap it all segment by segment. We just talked about the big things. And obviously, we've already spoke about the announcements because that was like the big thing with this show. So, now we're gonna preview what we have at the moment of AEW Dynamite. Like, since before we went live, this is what we've got. We've got the 4-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. We're going to hear from Adam Copeland. Of course, he's just debuted for the company, so that's going to be really interesting to see what he has to say.
He will be giving his mission statement tonight on why he is in AEW.
We're getting Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega versus Sammy Guevara and Takeshita. And we're getting Ray Phoenix versus Nick Jackson. And the books also apparently said, I haven't been able to check myself, but apparently on BT said that they will have a surprise for tonight. So, not a lot announced so far, which is, as an AEW fan, as a WWE fan, as a fan of all wrestling, for a 4-year anniversary of AEW, I was expecting a few more things to be announced by now, But after last night's NXT, who knows what they're doing over there at AEW Dynamite today?
Tony's in the lab. I will say it's becoming more and more common. This used to be like a WWE thing, and AEW never really did this, but now it's more common. It's more common for Tony to figure out what he's doing that night when he gets to TV. That was never like a thing before. Now it gets to TV, sits down, looks at who's backstage, and opens up the laptop, and looks at the spreadsheet and looks at records and stuff, and he's like, okay, well, Phoenix and Jared, let's do that, man. Like that type of thing. Like it's becoming an increasing trend of like figuring out stuff at like 6 p.m. In this case, in this case, I'm not like complaining too much because I know for a fact that it's partially because of the NXT thing, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do for next week as well. So, And also the other thing with Tony is when he tries to figure out stuff before he gets to TV, he ends up getting blindsided every single time when he gets to TV and finds out like actually this guy's injured now. It's like what? Or this guy can't make it to TV, he's sick, or oh this guy missed a flight. It happens a lot where Tony will figure something out, gets to TV, is throwing a curveball. So now he's just like, fuck it. I'll get to TV. Who the fuck is here? Who's on the travel list? Who is not sick? Who made it to television? And then he figures out what he's going to do. Yeah. It happens all the time.
We'll see what the late announcements are, We'll see what the late announcements are. Obviously, it's what time is it over there? It's coming up to, 4 p.m.?
Close to 4 p.m.
Yeah, coming up to 4 p.m. over in the States, Eastern time. So, maybe we get some late announcements. It's not unusual for Tony Khan to do some big late announcements for his Dynamite shows, and it's the 4-year anniversary, man, like I've said. So, we got onto a good start with the matches. Jericho and Omega versus Sammy and Takeshita. That's a good TV match. Really good tag match for a Dynamite.
Yeah.
And Phoenix versus Nick Jackson. Like, that's AEW. That's AEW to the core. That matches,
And Edge's introductory statement. What we have so far is good. We just got to fill it out, Tough part for Tony, like I just said, is he would normally be like, all right, I want to put some good shit on this show, but now he's like, fuck, what if I could say that for next week, So,
yeah. But yeah, man, AEW Dynamite, NXT, Tuesday Night Wars next week. Ibu, anything from Raw that you want to touch on before we get out of here? Well, before we do the Super Chats and get out of here.
Yeah, I want to just quickly say that Gunther, he does it again. He does it again.
He does.
He just does it again. 20 minutes. Actually, you got the last half hour of TV generally. The match itself, we saw about 20 minutes of it on air, not counting commercials. Tommaso Ciampa, Gunther, they just have just another well-worked, physical wrestling match. And I watch these guys wrestle, and it's always surreal to me, Monty, the way they lock up at the beginning of the match, right? I'm like, this just doesn't feel like it just feels like real wrestling. Not even to the snotty, like WWE is not real wrestling, but when these guys lock up and they're like kind of like have to be slowly separated by the ref, I'm like, this is real grabs, you know what I mean? And they had a physical match, super snug, it built well, great selling, great psychology. Ciampa started to target Gunther's hand because Gunther chops the announce table, misses. His fucking hand is paralyzed and shit, and Ciampa's targeting it and doing the Kawada kicks on the arm and shit. And then Gunther later is like, fuck it, I'm going to chop you with it anyway. And he chops Ciampa, and then he's grabbing it like, oh, fuck.
I think that's what they did last time, isn't it?
Yes, it's a callback. The idea was to neutralize Gunther's chopping arm and then target it. And Gunther, here, he's just fighting through it, and he chops him with it at the end. And anyway, Ciampa's trying to land the fairy tale ending. He fails to. Just a good match that built really well to the closing stuff. Yeah, man, I love Gunther. He's one of the best things on wrestling television. He just wrestles good wrestlers and has great matches. He's the best champion in WWE from that standpoint. He's the best champion on Raw, just straight up. And DIY reunited, which is really nice. I'm happy for Johnny Gargano. I felt really bad for him that he didn't have a role on television because the way Raw's shaking out right now, it does feel like the cream is rising to the top. It does feel like the best wrestlers are being positioned well because they deserve to be. You know what I mean? Like I guess the best way I can say it is like I don't see a lot of undeserved pushes right now on Raw. And I see a lot of guys who are talented, like getting, like Chad Gable is making it up because he deserves to. Steen Erickel's where they deserve to be because they're great. Cody Rhodes, etc. And so I thought Johnny Gargano, like I always felt like, man, give him a chance, man. Give him a chance in the tag setting with Ciampa. Throw him in the mix and see what happens. And I do think it's going to work this time in a tag setting. So I'm happy for him. So we'll see where that goes. That's pretty much what I wanted to say on Raw.
Yeah, it was another steady, just good show to keep us going towards Fastlane. I'd say Raw was, and they're getting better at this 3 hour thing, man. Making them not feel like 3 hour TV shows. I think, but yeah, Raw. Obviously, Gunther does it again. No
Gunther
surprise
does it
to
again.
anyone. And really great to see Ciampa get a spot like that and be able to showcase that he can do that in front of the main roster crowd. Big fan of Ciampa, always have been. I do have my reservations about him on the main roster, not because I don't think he's talented enough, just because of I don't know. See how the crowds really decide to take to him, how his booking falls. I know Triple H is a fan, but how big of a fan? So.
My thing is if your appeal in ring is like just your high motor and intensity, someone like a Ciampa, like with repeated showings on TV, is gonna get over because it's like the way he was just coming off like a grown man, talking
You
shit
can
to.
cut a promo as well, which is
That's what I'm
big
saying.
to the main roster, man.
Yeah, like
Big.
him cutting that promo about his fucking daughter and shit to Gunther, and then wrestling the way he wrestled. Like, just eventually people will respect it the same way people have done so with people in the past. What's gonna struggle are these like kind of nerdy indie type underdog motherfuckers, who come to the main roster and it's like, why should I care about you? I think the age of underdogs who just think they deserve more getting over. I think that's over. Yeah.
WrestleTix tweeted not long ago that 1,000 tickets have been moved since Copeland was added to tonight's Dynamite. So,
Yeah.
no surprise. No
Yeah.
surprise there. I know a lot of people are really quick on the edge isn't a draw button. It's like, of course he's going to draw for like this initial first few weeks. Like, of course he is. You know what I mean? He's edging a new promotion, and just because someone isn't like a huge money or ticket draw doesn't mean that they're not a legend. And Edge is absolutely a huge legend. He's one of the biggest legends that's still active today. So yeah, him coming in, it's exciting, it's new, it's different. People are going to tune in, bro. People are going to tune in for that first few weeks. People are going to buy tickets to see him. But
it's the first Dynamite of the rated R era.
but in 3 months' time, it's like I don't know if Edge is going to be doing like monster jumps in the quarter hours or anything like that. So that was kind of always like the argument against Edge actually being a draw was.
Hold on a second. Willie is saying that the crowd didn't give a shit about DIY and that they were apathetic and the crowd was piped in chants.
They weren't piped in, but it weren't a big pop like if you was a DIY loyalist you would have hoped for. But the crowd didn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like they got a little.
I was gonna
something.
say so the thing cut off, but like in the full video where like we saw like them hit the move and then hug each other. After they do like the double knees, there's a DIY chant, and that's not piped in. They just literally chanted DIY, and then they reacted for the hug. I think part of why their initial reaction was muted was because Gargano has like this unrecognizable Def Rebel theme song, and yeah, I mean there wasn't a Road Warrior pop by any means, but eventually once the fans realized what was actively happening, which was a DIY reunion, they did go like, oh, DIY, that's nice, yeah, DIY, like it was that type of thing. So yeah, it wasn't like completely like, what is this? Especially like once they went off air. Like, I saw the Twitter clip and the fans cheered.
Yeah, man. Like I said, they do. Like it weren't nothing crazy, but they do get a little something, you know.
Mhm.
Kobe 1227. Ibu, why are you doing this to my ears right now?
Oh, I thought it was muted. I'm sorry.
Whipping eggs, you know. What are we doing?
I didn't know it was me whipping.
I know, listen, I'm a chef. You know, it's a side to me that the rest of Puri's universe don't know, but I know what whiskey egg sounds like, brother. Anyway, super chats. Kobe 1227, $2. Appreciate you very much. Give me Ray versus Nathan Frazier. I wouldn't complain at all. Shoretown Spurs, $5. Appreciate you as always. Watched NXT for the first time in a minute yesterday. It's incredible how bad Dom is in most facets of wrestling. Creative has done an incredible job. Creative has done a really good job, and the Rey Mysterio rub as well. I don't. I assume I don't think he's as bad as you do, Shoretown Spurs, but you know, obviously creative and booking has been like, you know, what has got him to where he is as a wrestler now and why he's so popular and gets all the heat he does, you
Oh,
know. So
what they've been able to get out of a guy of his level, especially from the very beginning with this Judgment Day stuff, it's like it's the definition of booking and just like business. You know, like that's a piece of business. You know what they've gotten out of Dominic. You know.
Huncho 499, appreciate it. Is wrestling better or worse off with the existence of dirt sheets? And would you enjoy wrestling more or less if you had absolutely zero knowledge of behind the scenes? I don't think it makes that substantial of a difference, to be honest. It's very much like an old head take who's like, oh, back in the day, there was no dirt sheets. And it's like, there was. You just didn't read them, you know. Back in the day, there was, you know, there was dirt sheets that were like literal dirt sheets back then. Then I guess it moved on to like forums, and now we are where we are with social media and all the different websites and stuff. So I don't think it makes that much of a difference at the end of the day.
The way I look at it, Monty, if you don't want to be spoiled on something, you can make sure to not be spoiled on something. You don't
100%.
have to. You don't have to read reports. You don't have to follow the scoopster people.
100%.
And so that's kind of like my stance on that. For me, it makes it more interesting because, like, when you hear about rumors, then you can speculate, then you can have conversations about speculation. So I get excited for things more when I have an idea of what's possible. You know. So
Yeah,
that's just me.
I hear you. Oh, I agree. I agree. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. That women's triple threat was fun. I can't say for sure, but it feels like Becky cares about the women's division more than Charlotte Flair. I mean, that's a fair assumption, is all I'm going to say on that. Will Chisholm again. Do y'all know if any talks of putting Melo with Bobby Lashley faction?
Yes,
I mean,
that has absolutely been discussed.
there you go. There you go. Showtime Spurs, appreciate you again as always. $5. What happens when these women are main roster ready, but Raw and SmackDown are still dedicating a small amount of TV time to women's wrestling? I don't know how true that actually is, to be honest.
Io and Oscar wrestled for 20 minutes last week.
It's Raw's women's division, you know, especially as of late, it gets like a decent amount of time. Some of the matches might be short, but in terms of like the division as a whole, you know, and across like segments and just booking and just doing angles and stuff like that, the women get quite a decent amount on Raw. SmackDown,
Monty, people run this because, like, if you don't watch the show and you just look it up on Cage Match, it looks like unfavorably, you know. But like,
yeah,
that's the
but
thing.
SmackDown, I get it a bit more. But you know, at the top of the card, they're just kind of doing a bunch of stuff with like Charlotte Flair, and the Io Asuka stuff has been like pretty okay so far, but nothing great in terms of storytelling. But Raw is definitely a lot more favourable if you're a women's wrestling fan. You got Rhea over there. I know they've brought Nia Jax in, and some people will instantly turn their nose up on it, but she hasn't stunk it up yet. You know, she's just been a monster heel. You got
she's
Raquel.
there to put Jade Cargill over.
Yeah, obviously up until very recently they had Becky as well. I know she was doing the Trish feud, but like, you know, I get why they were doing it. It wasn't for me personally. I thought the cage match was an absolute success, though. And again, like I said, I get why they were doing it. It was Becky and Trish Stratus, you know, like huge names, and just try to do like a historical feud, I guess, you know. But that got a lot of time as well. Yeah, man, they're trying to do this stuff. They're trying to start a little Tegan Knox push. You know, like they are doing things. You know, Chelsea Green gets 5 minutes every week. You know, it's they do give them time. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying fuck Stardom. we've got the real stuff over here. You know, absolutely not. I would not go that far with it, but I wouldn't say they don't get any time. Do you know what I mean? You got Jade coming in. Seems like she's going to Raw. Yeah,
She's gonna get a major
Jade,
push as well.
yeah, Jade to Raw. What do you think about
that? Yeah, I mean, look, she's gonna be. They're gonna feed Raquel Rodriguez to Nia, and then Jade Cargill is going to pick up Nia Jax.
That's real wrestling. I can't lie, bro.
Yeah,
Look, the match could be absolutely tragic, but you know, maybe they don't even have to have a match.
The idea of bringing in a monster to destroy a lot of people, because you know that you're having an incoming superstar to then beat this monster. This is Riki Choshu booking in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You bring in a killer.
Could be very scary though, unless it's just like a squash, you know.
I think it's like it's a heavily agented 6-minute match where Nia gets picked up a couple times.
6 minutes is still, I don't know. A lot of smoke and mirrors needed. I wouldn't be against a squash. Someone really said in the chat, Nia Jax can't move. Listen, she can move better than she did she's in a better place now, physically and hopefully as a worker, than she was when she left WWE most recently. So
I actually thought in like 2017-18 she was pretty decent. But she kind of got like out of shape and just wasn't working hard.
She seems to have been working. Been in the gym with Ashley Flair actually lately. So
they're good friends.
Yeah, man. But yeah, cool.
Even though they were shooting at each other on TV.
Wheelchairs and $5. I do love when JR's biased towards Stone Cold. That's how Booker T is biased to Roxanne. It's good shit, man. Yeah, Booker T, he loves Roxanne, man. You know, he's star student, you know, and he just pops me. He pops me a lot. Same as JR did, just like you will. Trust Process 34,999 with the last super chat. He says, do you think most talent see AEW as the passion project place where you sign after your prime to do some added beast matches to your resume? Or do you think they could genuinely ever pull a WWE guy in his prime? I think they absolutely could pull a WWE guy in their prime. It just depends on how every wrestler looks at wrestling differently, very much like us fans. Do you know what I mean? Like you got wrestlers that like very much prefer the WWE presentation to the AEW presentation, and that's just a matter of taste, you know. Some wrestlers fit differently in different places. It's like
and then there's wrestlers, Monty, that like based on their background and their style of work, they know that like ultimately AEW is probably like a bigger fit for them, but they feel that they'd rather swim upstream in WWE and hope to make it than like just be amongst many in AEW that are similar and just kind of have better matches.
Look at John Moxley. Someone said in the chat, look at John Moxley. John Moxley is absolutely in his prime as a performer when he left WWE to go AEW. And even though he left WWE to leave WWE, and it wasn't actually directly to go to AEW, and that came a little bit after, but still, WWE just wasn't the place for John Moxley to be John Moxley. Do you know what I mean? Dean Ambrose, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Do you know what I mean? Adam Cole, bro.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, like, he was in his prime. He's in his prime, and obviously he's getting injuries a lot now, you know. But in his prime, he saw, you know, I know WWE didn't exactly see him maybe the way that the fans in AEW do now, you know. And when I say WWE, I mean more specifically Vince, probably. But you know that's another one that's made the move in their prime in terms of like age, I guess. But yeah, man, especially with contract season coming up over the next 12 months, we've mentioned it on nearly every podcast now, but it's going to be interesting, man. Like, people are going to move.
I will say, Monty, the direction we were trending in the summer of 2021, like when Adam Cole was like deciding what to do, it was getting to a level in WWE when in terms of like people coming in, being booked poorly, getting their name changed and their look changed. It was getting to a point where it's just kind of like, if you're good, you just need to leave this company. Like like that goes to like everybody except Roman Reigns. We were getting to that point where it's just like, if you are good and you value like how you're used, and you're not a legacy talent or Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, you need to leave WWE. It's a much different situation now on so many levels. But yeah, it's gonna be super situational. It's gonna be super situational.
Yeah, man, and just every situations, taste, you know, all kinds of things go into wrestlers' decision, especially now that there's actually options around of where they're going to wrestle, and it's a good thing, you know. So, like I said it many times. Next 12 months, contract season, it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see who goes where, and you know, wrestling in general is just very interesting at the moment. It's got the Big Edge debut. We got the Tuesday Night Wars next week. A lot of good stuff going on Fastlane this weekend, you know. But yeah, man, we will be back tomorrow because we're winding down now. I appreciate everyone who's watched. Please like and subscribe. Please hit that like button on your way out. It helps us quite a lot. And tomorrow, today is Wednesday. Tomorrow, episode 100 of the Wrestle Purist podcast, and we're going to have a loaded lineup. We're going to bring the whole crew in, even if they can only pop in for 5 minutes because they're at work. I think Manny's going to be calling in for 5 minutes from his car. We've got Ibu. Ibu's going to be popping through. Ayo's going to be there. Yeah, man, you can't miss that shit, brother. You know, everyone's booked. Everyone's booked. Some people don't even know they're booked yet, but they're booked. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun time. We're gonna have a fun time tomorrow. We're gonna try and make it feel a little bit different. Episode 100.
We need a special golden border or something.
Yeah, man, we got. So yeah, tomorrow's podcast, it should definitely be a really good time, man. It should be a really good time. And we're going to try and do a little bit of Dynamite review in it, but there's probably going to be like 8 people on screen, so who knows. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with that. And of course, we will be on Twitch tonight to do the AEW Dynamite watch along, hosted by AO and the crew over there. But yeah, again, appreciate you guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back on Twitch. And like, subscribe, please like the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Tomorrow's going to be so cool.